Guess we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Let me
Yep.
write down who's here. Marcus, Joe, Ecot. 2 T's, Joe?
Yep, you got it.
Chad. That's who I see on here. Am I missing anybody?
Mm-mm.
There's my list. Is there just 4 of us?
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. We'll get started here. So first thing, I guess, well, maybe I'm going to move this up. We're going to talk about this first. Let me move this up here. Talk about the milestones, just so get an idea of when we got to get things done. So we have a feature freeze on May 11th, where we need to have all the majority of our code in. Then we're going to get ready to cut an RC, which we hope to have out by May 19th, and that'll introduce a code freeze. And that'll give us a lot of time to have an RC out. Usually our RC out is only out like a week, and that's just not enough time for people to really test it. So we can have an RC out for much longer, and at the end, hopefully, that's our deadline. June 17th is when we plan to have Sodium released. So the reason I bring that up is because we need to have all the bulk of our work for MSI on Windows, go into Python 3.7. All that stuff needs to be in by May 11th. And I think we have PRs in for most of this anyway, so I don't think we're going to have a problem hitting the deadlines on those. I'd like to talk about MSI on Windows just for a bit, and I know Marcus has some things that he's been working on, and I've seen what you've been doing. Marcus, you're working on right now getting the Nullsoft installer to detect an MSI install. That's right? Is that right?
Yeah.
And we already have the code in the MSI to detect a Nullsoft install. So they'll be able to detect each other, but that's kind of from this point forward. Any builds, any Nullsoft builds we have from this point forward, we'll be able to detect the MSI after we get this in. So that'll be good. You also had a comment for me to remove the MSI conformant version function from the versions.py. And I just saw you already had a PR in for that. And so whichever one gets merged first, we'll do a conflict resolution and we'll make sure that function is gone.
The function is gone. You recently have proved it, and then
so it is merged.
Gareth Greenaway or somebody else merged it. So
okay, so it's merged. So
Yep.
yours is merged, the one that removes it?
Yes.
So then I need to rebase my Python 3.7 and get that updated. Okay, all right, I can do that. Cool. Is there anything else on the MSI we need to talk about?
No, Joe, you said feature complete. I regard the MSI now as feature complete. I have tested most. I reduced the number of options to what you actually intended to be in the first place. You had 3 options, like
Yes.
custom config, default. I had a 4th version. I removed the 4th version.
Existing.
Sorry?
Existing was the 3rd one.
Existing was the 3rd. So as far as I can see, the code is there. I have not completed testing in all cases, and there might be 30 variants we need to test or about. I'm using it in my company. So it's distributed on 10,000 machines. I'm confident it works. Yep. I'm looking forward to using 3,000, by the way. I have not yet closed the last open issue I have, but I think this very strange 5-minute problems is gone. And I'm glad to move to Python 3. So it has no problem I see with 0MQ filtering, which we need.
That's awesome. And you know, I'm glad that we had those conversations and got it all down on paper, thought about it, came up to, you know, kind of got a conclusion on how we wanted to do, you know, a feature complete minimum viable product for it. Yeah, that's good to hear. And you know, sorry for not being able to jump back onto that. I was actually since then I've been pulled away and I've been working on the enterprise product.
You're welcome. As long as I know there are some people picking up, I will be here, and we will support each other. So everybody will be distracted by something else. This is regular madness.
Yes, yes. Cool.
Okay, good. So you're on 10,000 machines. Are they all English machines? Are they German?
No, and the fact is, I did not go on with the UTF-8 problem. I wanted first to make the installer running, and I have also I have a little contact with Mark Hammond, who does the Python installer.
Yeah.
And so I think I will mostly concentrate on the installer part. But the German machines still pose a problem. So whenever there is a German umlaut, I still have conflicts.
Unicode errors.
Code errors. Yeah.
Okay, so in the testing I've been doing with Python 3.7, it seems to resolve all of the Unicode issues that I have seen with Python 3. So hopefully with the Sodium release, being released with Python 3.7, most of those issues, the Unicode issues, will be taken care of.
Wonderful.
That's what I'm hoping.
Good. I'm looking forward to that. But anyhow, even with these coding problems, I would still, I think I consider it a minor issue for myself. But I will come back to you once the installer is tested and running, and I don't want to do both currently.
Okay. Okay. The next item I have, I guess we talked about Python 3.7. We're going to 3.7.
Good.
I have a PRN for 3.7 that works. It builds a Python 3.7 version of Salt. I also have the PRN that takes out all the Py2 code, so we're only building Python 3. And that all seems to work. So once that's in and it's merged, I'll start building. We'll start looking at figuring out how I want to integrate the MSI repo in. We want to keep it a separate repo and just write a script that clones it in and does it. I may just do that, because I think in the future we're going to be splitting everything out rather than having everything in one giant monolithic repo. We're going to start splitting out Windows into its own. It's more modular, so that we can do releases faster and make changes and not affect the core, and not have to wait 9 hours for tests to run. And so rather than bring something else in, I think we're just going to hold off on trying to bring in the MSI code. So
I really appreciate that. There are many, in fact, I use only a small fraction, and I have kind of, I'm looking forward to have a smaller installer or an installer who can factor out parts.
Oh yeah, reduce the vulnerability.
Yep.
Footprint. Okay. Yeah, I see that. There's a lot of stuff in there that applies just to Linux that we probably wouldn't need for Windows, and we would be able to get rid of a lot of that once we do this. And it may go along with a transition into POP. So it may not happen in the SALT project. It may happen in the POP project as we start looking at migrating SALT into POP.
Should I have a look into POP then? Because I can't, or who was it? Akmod, or how you pronounce that?
Yes.
Yeah. Tyler. Ahmad.
Could you maybe explain me in a minute, as Akmod is not present, what's the relationship between IDIM and POP and salt?
Okay.
Shane, if you want to go ahead, or I can explain it.
Yeah, so POP is Tom's, it is his 7th or 8th iteration on the loader, basically. And what he's tried to do with it is create POP stands for plugin oriented programming, meaning that everything is a plugin. So therefore you break out salt and every part of salt becomes a plugin. The grains are plugin, is a plugin. The state system is a plugin. Everything is a plugin. And it all goes, POP has this way of tying it all together and exposing all the functions of all the different plugins so that they can be shared across all of the different plugins. So IDIM stands for idempotent. Our state system is supposed to be idempotent. So IDIM is the POP version of our states, basically, if that makes sense.
Okay.
He also has right now they're calling it corn, popcorn, which is our grains. That's our grains.
I didn't get that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So popcorn is the grain system. Ahmad has done a lot on getting all the grains over into POP. So that's what the popcorn is. POP IDIM is the state system, and we also have a POP build, which allows us to have a single binary instead of packaging a folder like we do. It's a single binary that it uses PyInstaller to create a single binary that contains Python and all the dependencies it needs to run salt. So it fixes a lot of our packaging problems that we have, and problems with dependencies and builds across systems that don't all share the same dependencies, you know. So there are a lot of things that we're doing on POP. That's going to affect us too here. So let me think about this. The POP build stuff is going to affect us because Tom wants to have POP build be the way we build salt in Sodium. So
in Sodium already? In
Sodium already, he's pushing it. So what that means for us with the MSI and with the Nullsoft scripts is that right now you basically run build.bat, which goes through and installs Python and all the dependencies, and then it installs salt, and then it copies it over to a directory and it creates the installer based off of that. When we do POP build, it's going to create this single binary installer. In the case of Windows, I think it has to be a bin dir. It's actually a directory. It's all into a directory. The single binary puts it all in a zip file, which was really slow on Windows because it had to unzip everything, keep looking in the zip file. So ours is like a directory version of a single, it's not really a single binary anymore, but it's still it's all combined together into one. Did you want to talk about that, Chad?
I did. So Marcus, I'm sure you're concerned that you just put all that work into the current MSI project, and I wrote POP build MSI, and I left a lot of developer doors where it'll be really easy to move over what you worked, basically where you light the candle and then you just hand it over to POP build. So you basically generate the first Wix file and then you just hand it to POP build, and it'll build the salt wonder, and then it'll use that Wix config file you made and just combine the two.
As long as it produces an MSI, I'm happy. So I think the important part is the MSI. Good. Where did you wrote it?
So it's on GitLabs right now. It's on a very fundamental it's very fundamental right now. It's more or less a proof of concept. There's a lot of key features missing to it. But yeah, I can send you a link, Marcus.
Good.
Are you on the Slack community?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can someone give me his GitHub handle?
Marcus Kramer Leggett.
Okay. I don't think there's going to be many of those.
No, I regret that I used this name, but I don't think I can change it anyhow.
You can. I
can?
changed mine. Yeah, mine used to be something else. But you want to do it early on. You don't want to do it after you've got tons of projects up there. People know who you are.
I leave it that way. You forward my my stupid credentials to chat.
Sure.
But the other nice thing about the MSI build for POP build is, so there's going to be two that are going to be there, where there's the one where the person can choose to override the basic Wix settings, where basically there's going to be a bunch of flags. You get to choose the install directory, the icon, the manufacturer, upgrade ID, all that fun stuff. But like, let's say there's a core setting that you're missing and you know what you're doing for Wix, you can again choose to provide your own Wix file, and it will just grab that executable for you and pop it in there.
I think for us, Marcus, the way it's going to work for us for the near future is we will get the Wonder, and our installers will be based on the Wonder. So instead of packaging the Python directory like we do now, we will package the Wonder directory that is created by pop build. That'll be the source of our.
Perfect.
However, it does change some things. You can't see like the site packages directory anymore. It's not like a portable Python like we have now. So there are some differences that we're gonna have to get used to, figure out how to work around. It makes troubleshooting a lot harder when you can't go in and just modify and look at the code in a module and just change it and try to fix it. And you know what I mean? It makes the troubleshooting a little more difficult.
Yes, I see.
Maybe we'll
good. I'm interested. And you call it Wonder. So what POP
One
is
ONE dir as in directory. One directory.
Oh, Wonder. I see.
Wonder. Yeah.
Wonder. Yeah.
Not wonder like wonderful.
I got Wonder. I see.
Yeah, it's okay. That's what I thought at first too. We were talking about. Okay, so that's coming. All right, something else I wanted to talk about here was this WMI versus Python Net.
Just one last question, maybe. So that means
Sure.
if Sodium comes with the Wonder MSI, then this MSI project is really going to stop.
No, it's still the same. We'll still use the MSI project, but instead of bundling the directory we're using now, it'll be the Wonder directory.
Oh, I see. Well, I will get to you, Chad, once I see your GitLab repository.
Yeah, I'm just about ready to message you.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to get Salt open on this computer.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions on that, or?
Not as of now.
Okay. All right. So this Python Net thing, I think it was Damon Atkins or somebody wanted to have Python Net in the SALT project so that it would expose the .NET libraries to Python and allow us to build execution modules using calls to .NET. It also allows you to like work with PowerShell without ever opening PowerShell. It calls the .NET assembly functions directly without ever having to open PowerShell. So I was trying to speed up our process forking on Windows. And part of the time that it takes every time it forks a process is generating the grains. And so I changed some of the code where it grabs the network interface. And I changed it from using the WMI calls to using PythonNet. And when I did this, I saw a speed increase. I don't know how I was testing it, but now that the code has been merged and it's in, it actually seems slower than WMI.
Oh no.
And it's also causing some other issues that PythonNet has introduced, like with the CLR library not found. I've seen a couple of GitHub issues come in where there's like a stack trace and it says it couldn't import CLR. And that's coming from
PopBuild?
PythonNet. No, it's coming from PythonNet. We've moved on.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You're still back in Pop. So I don't know. I mean, we've only done the one thing with the grains with PythonNet and Salt. I'm contemplating ripping it out, or at least reverting the grains generation back to WMI and bagging the PythonNet thing so that
We
it's not
should-
a dependency.
Shane, we should at least profile it.
Well, when I did my test, like timing on a test.ping,
Hmm.
it was faster with WMI. The test.ping returned faster than it did with PythonNet.
Chad,
But
can you
I'd be happy to profile
can you explain how to profile or write a introduction into profiling?
Yeah, so there's a couple Python frameworks that allow to do profiling, and more or less it's just the it's a mechanism that allows us to gather some analytics about performance.
Yeah.
So we would be able to look at things like object size, the size of Python objects to see if they're larger or smaller for memory consumption. We can look at time it takes to get from the start to the finish. Just things like that, and that would give us, if things really aren't speeding up or we're not really receiving that much of a benefit, but Shane is also experiencing longer wait times, and maybe there was just something under the hood that wasn't caught, and now we can just have some data to back that up.
Perfect.
Okay, it should be sent now.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, let's get together in the next couple weeks. This week we've got the PR code jam or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Next week I'm on triage, so maybe next week we can do it for a little bit, do some profiling on that. You can show me how to do that. I've never done profiling on Windows, so that'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we can make a decision as to whether we need to revert to PythonNet stuff or just stay with it. Maybe keep the dependency, so if people want to build execution modules with it, it's there, but not make it a core dependency in Salt.
Right.
Right now it's a core dependency because it's a part of the grain system now.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll do that. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. See how much time is it? Okay. All right. So had a few Windows issues. Anybody have any other things before we move on?
Actually, Marcus, I do have one question for you, because this is honestly just a complete shot in the dark, but you may have some experience in this and you may not. So let's suppose I were to ask you to get me a list of all of the patches that have been installed on a Windows box. Does your brain jump to anything specific?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, that's okay. Then that's honestly
I
it.
think you would go into the add remove programs logic of looping through the registry and looking for everything which is called KBU.
Maybe.
So there are you have under Windows current system uninstall, you have a folder like a registry structure which only contains GUIDs. So when you look at that, you don't see anything, but you need to look inside, and there you find all the knowledge-based KBU. I think all patches are called KBU. I would start there.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
They're KBs. They're KBs.
Knowledge base, just
KB,
KB.
and then
Knowledge.
sometimes you can install the actual file without going through Windows Update, and that's an MSU file.
I've seen these MSU files for the first time when I run the. Last week I run the Nullsoft installer, and I noticed these MSU files. I'm not familiar with those.
So those are patching the Windows system
I see.
to make sure that .NET is updated or part of the VC binaries
I see.
are updated. Those are in Python 3.
mhm.
Python 2 gets the VC Redist.
Yeah.
Python 3 gets the MSU files, but they're basically patching the same thing.
Okay.
They're actually Python 3 issues, and if they aren't there, some systems will fail to start because Python will fail to start.
Hmm.
We're actually going to go through an issue that's having a problem with that, but I can show you. I'm not sure which one it is here. Might be this one.
So Joe, you wanted to know all the patches in the Windows system for what reason?
Yeah. So more specifically, actually, just the patches that pertain to the build that Windows is on.
Ooh.
Because in the registry, right, actually what I could do is I could query the machine for all update events that have occurred.
Yeah.
However, the update events just show that the Windows Update agent was invoked and it was asked to install an update. However, I want to create a subset list of only the patches that pertain to a given build. So I would like to filter by 1507, filter by 1809, etc. And so far, that is not something that most people seem to have an immediate answer.
No, I'm sorry. Me
That's okay.
neither. Yeah.
No, it's something Shane and I have been working on. It's with our enterprise product, it's something that we're interested in doing, and we're just trying to iron out some details.
I will throw that question into my company, challenging my people. Maybe they come up with something.
Yeah, and that's the twist to it is according to what Microsoft would call an accurate and a localized list. That is a list of all of the updates that pertain to a build that has been installed on the system. So you can install an update that is not through the Windows Update agent, right? You can go to the catalog and you can download it yourself.
Yep.
The Windows Update agent may not report that specific KB because it did not install it.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah, those are the things that keep me up at night.
Yeah. I see.
All right, well, I was hoping to go through some issues, but it looks like GitHub is having some problems now.
Oh boy, that's a good day for us.
I know. It's been 26 minutes, the last half hour. So we can't look at these that I was hoping to look at. That's okay. I think we've covered everything that we really needed to cover. So for Joe and Shane, what do we call this? what did you call it? Performance
Profiling?
profiling.
Yeah, sorry.
Joe,
it-
I profiled the Salt Master. I was very, and this was very useful. I just don't know how to profile the Windows minion. If you can throw me your favorite methods or your favorite batch file to do that, then I would be glad. I would be grateful.
Yeah, and so actually previously the experience I have with profiling is I used to work for an automation company, not Siemens, although Siemens was our global competitor. I used to work for Rockwell Automation, and one of the tasks that I had was to profile their Ethernet over IP and security Ethernet over IP drivers. Because they were looking to see between threading and multi-threading and going to async IO if they would get any performance increases. And so really the profiling that I did was to go into the code and manipulate it in such a way that, you know, you put little flags every here and there as like checkpoints to see how long it took to get to the checkpoint, what changes since the last checkpoint, and then you can build output like that. So if there are other ways to do it in a single batch file, I would argue. So I can look at other frameworks as well.
Okay, but I think that, well, I profiled the Salt Master just by sending control, I don't know, a control command to it, and it instantly started to profile because that's already baked into Python. So I would have expected that you can also profile the minion just by using an appropriate Python framework without changing a single line of code.
Yes, and there are some, I'm sure, that do that. The reason why I had to go outside of that is because we were strictly on Windows systems, and one of the timers that came with Python only gave to the milliseconds, and we wanted nanoseconds.
Okay. Yeah, Python isn't really a very fast language, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a. Okay, I see. Well,
But we'll get that ironed out.
good.
We'll explain to you how we did it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try to learn some of these Python tricks for Windows. Okay, anybody else? We're gonna get okay, so that's what I'm gonna work on this week. Is everybody still there? Got real quiet.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything to add? I think we've covered everything
Yeah, I'm
that we
good.
can cover. Okay. Awesome. Good meeting, guys. Thank you for coming to our Windows work group.
Always.
And if we need to have a quick meeting between now and then, we might, just so that we can hit our release date. If not, then I guess we'll see everybody in May.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys, for coming. Thanks.
Thank
Mark,
you,
for
Shane.
taking
Bye,
the
guys.
time
Thank you,
to be
Shane.
here. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Happy Corona, everybody.
Happy Corona.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.